Here at The American, we're celebrating the 38th annual National Girls and Women in Sports Day, and it has been years in the making of increasing visibility and growing women's sports. And one of those leaders, we're now joined by ESPN veteran Sara Gaiero, who oversees women's college basketball and the WNBA. Sara, great to have you here. VP of Production, what are some of the goals and tasks that your role entails?
Yeah, thanks, Morgan. I'm extremely excited to be here and excited to see how you guys are celebrating this awesome day. Yeah, I'll give you a little bit of background about my role just as the VP of production for both college basketball, women's college basketball, and the WNBA. Right, the broad oversight of it is the direction of our product. Right, so really diving in on our talent and voices as part of both of our products, our production teams, our production personnel, our production workflows, right? Like with this day and age, there's a variety of different ways that we're producing all of these games and studio shows, right? And really just setting the vision and the future of what we want to accomplish with our coverage of women's basketball, right? Again, with both properties. We've seen tremendous growth in the past few years, as everyone will acknowledge here. And so it's my job to sort of assess, hey, what do we want to do with this property? How do we want to make our shows and our coverage on the women's basketball side even more amplified, even more, like just better and bigger and broader? And so that's my task every day, is to figure out how we're doing that from this position.
There's no sport truly in the country that has grown more than women's basketball, and we've seen it. The numbers back it up. And, from the growth of the sport, but also to your growth in your career, plenty of female mentors along the way. Who are some of those people that you look to get to the role and position that you're in right now?
Yeah, I've certainly had the benefit of working alongside a lot of very, very talented, smart, strong women throughout my 23 years here. Names that I'll throw out there that have had great influence in my career are Amy Rosenfeld, Tina Thornton, Jill Fredrickson, right? These are some of the pioneers that really have made such a huge impact on ESPN from years and years until, we keep moving in the future. So those are some names that have had a great impact on me and allowed me to grow into this position. And then I would say recently too, my WNBA team, right, and the production and announce team that I've had the opportunity to work with in the last 4 years, they've had such a tremendous impact on me and my growth and sort of motivation in this space, right, to really advocate for women's sports and to really just go out there and with strength and confidence fight for this sport to get the visibility and the exposure and the resources and the investment that we know it has earned and will ultimately make all of our coverage better. And so, for those in that small space too, I'm very, very grateful for their impact on me.
Yeah, you mentioned that word growth, 23 years at ESPN in this industry. What stands out when you think of the growth of college basketball, especially on the women's side?
Yeah, it's just awesome to see where we are, right? I mean, I've been here, as you noted, 23 years. So I've seen a lot. I've worked on a variety of different sports as part of this event production world. And to see the investment, the intentional resources, being driven into the women's college basketball space right now, it's awesome. Like I can't say, I mean, I worked on college basketball. It was my first job when I got hired at ESPN to be a temp PA on college basketball. And when I worked on the women's tournament in 2002, right, it just didn't receive the same amount of resources and respect, if you will, maybe, right, that it's now getting. Right now, you can walk into these rooms and talk about what we want to do with our coverage there, and everyone is excited. And before, it was like you just were sort of saying, hey, can we get some highlights? Can we get some coverage? Like it has changed so dramatically for the best. And I just hope that we, again, just continue climbing and rising and making what we do to cover the sport even more amplified.
The stars of the game have been a big part of that. You think of Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, two household names now around the country. When you think of just your colleagues and what you all are doing in terms of trying to increase the visibility of women's sports in general, what are some of the steps that you're taking into the future here?
Yeah, I think it's important that we get to know these athletes as more than just athletes too, right? And that has been a great part of social media. It has allowed these athletes to stand out on their own, right? They're a brand, they're a star, they have their own following. They can now drive their own narrative, and we're the beneficiaries of that, right? And so I think it's really important that we tell those stories within our games of, let's break down how awesome and dynamic they are on the court, but let's also see the other side of them too, right? The impact they have in their community, right? How they speak up in around that, what they're doing. Like when you see Caitlin Clark and how she's handling all of this media attention, right? I mean, she will sign every single one of those jerseys for every single one of those kids. And that's an important part that we need to incorporate in our storytelling, because I think that resonates with people at a deeper level, right? Like we can absolutely appreciate and acknowledge that their athleticism and how great they are on the court, but then when you give me that next level about like how great of a person they are or the impact they're having, well, then I've just connected with maybe a casual fan that is not a diehard basketball fan, but now they're interested, and now they want to come back and learn more about this person, watch that game. And I think that's how we can keep sort of pushing this, more in the future, is just seeing these women for who they are, and they're multidimensional.
Well, Sara, thank you and your colleagues for all you do to increase the visibility and growth of women's sports. We really appreciate you taking the time, and happy National Girls and Women in Sports Day. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here, and thanks for all you guys are doing as well.